And we're back. This is Elliot and Jose coming to you from Dreamland Comics in Schaumburg, Illinois. Thank you for joining us here on CCW TV. Let's jump back into the DCU. A book that you know we have praised this book up and down, which has been Detective Comics number 859 by Greg Rucka and J.H. Williams III. I love this cover. I really do love this cover. Because this cover, you know, I don't know how many artists have the ability that J.H. Williams does to be able to pull off this kind of a stunt.
Mm-hmm.
The simplistic artwork up top with the elaborate painted artwork on the bottom, and J.H. Williams makes the cover a part of the story.
Mm-hmm.
You know, how it symbolizes, it's part of the storytelling. This is also another book that you can sit there and read again and pick up something new each time.
And the fact that this is the second part now to kind of the origin of Kate Kane, like how she grew up and stuff like that. And we've already had two very dramatic different styles of J.H. Williams in Detective Comics. Between the Batwoman stuff, which is painted, and then the more comic book writer tone with the Kate Kane stuff. Right. And now here, completely other design, just design sense to it.
Well, you know what I think he's evoking here? This is Batman Year One. Yep. He's doing the David Mazzucchelli style, because I remember when I read Batman Year One by Frank, which to me is my favorite Frank Miller Batman story and favorite Frank Miller Batman series, because that was when Mazzucchelli had done that great run on Daredevil, really came into his own, does Batman and just really brought it. He brought like a whole new style to his book. To his artwork, and then went back to Daredevil and did the Born Again series, which was incredible too. Or am I getting that reversed? Did he do Born Again first, then Year One? I could be wrong. Anyway, but I'm reading this, and yeah, this is not the artwork I would think of today's J.H. Williams doing. Maybe back in the day when he was working with Tony Harris on Starman. Okay, maybe then.
But it works in the context of this story.
Oh, it works incredibly in this story. And to me, what really fills me with such admiration at this is that this is kind of a risk he's taking here with this type of storytelling. He's giving up all the, at least for the flashbacks, he's giving up all the flashy layouts. He's giving up all the fancy colors, all the little digital tricks that he could pull out. Doing that, and then bam!
And then he goes back to it, because the story's flipping from present to past.
Present to past.
And the art style changes dramatically with it.
But there is a purpose behind it. In a way, this can the change in the tone can seem somewhat jarring. We talked about the change in tone in that issue of Dark Avengers, where it went from the Diodato artwork to the Horn artwork, and we were like, okay, in the beginning, it kind of made sense to us, but then they failed to follow through on the execution throughout. Here, Williams is consistent. If it's flashback, bam, this is the way you're going to see it, so you know where you are. This is the time and the place. And then when we're back into the present of the fully realized character of Batwoman, then the artwork changes again. And then, now, going back to the visual language of comics, Williams is playing certain beats here in this issue, switching between the two styles, back and forth, so that when you get to the last few pages of this issue, and he literally brings the two styles together. I literally gasped. I went, oh my. I was like, wow. This was... And again, in something really simple. I mean, there's nothing flashy here.
Yeah. And when you kind of compare the previous artwork, like the painting, digital painting and stuff like that, and then you go to the reason that this flashback, the artwork in a flashback works is because Kate Kane is kind of still trying to find herself. And the character herself is not complete. There's something that's missing.
Right. The colors are more washed. She's still defining herself, and it's kind of like a simpler time. Mm-hmm. You could say like maybe this is a story being told 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. You know, and in a way, it also harkens back to comics of 10 years ago, because there is a really very simplistic look to it. You know, of really the more the more European style that some artists were dabbling with back in the 90s and in the late 80s.
But then towards the end of the issue, where she realizes now what her life wants, what she wants her life to be about, it becomes more real.
It becomes more real, and if anything, when she encounters Batman for the first time, you know, the entrance of the Batman in a comic book is so overdone from time to time that it really loses its emotional impact. In this issue here, at the end, the fact that Batman is just there, like Kate Kane turns around and then she sees him there, this had more emotional impact than any image of Batman falling through a skyline. Mm-hmm. You know.
Well, the fact that she's gonna get mugged and she actually fends off the mugger herself, and then she sees she turns around and she sees the Batman there, and she trips and falls over, and then what is the only thing that the Batman does is that he helps her up.
Yeah, he goes,
and that's it.
And then he leaves.
Yeah, and then she knows exactly what she feels her purpose is going to be in life now.
Well, that's what she wants to emulate. That's what she wants to be. So,
story-wise, I mean, you get into the fact that she was in the army and she gets kicked out because they find out that she's gay.
That she's gay.
And instead of making excuses, instead of running around being somebody that she's not and pretending, she just tells him straight out, "I'm gay."
Right. And she wants to have integrity.
Exactly.
But by holding on to her integrity, she ends up losing a lot of things. And it's this whole thing where, you know, Rucka is playing on the beliefs, playing on the theme that sometimes, you know, holding on to your beliefs can end up costing you more than you would think. Mm-hmm. And what do you have to lose to say that, you know what, my beliefs mean more to me than anything?
And the fact that, you know, when you're reading this and you don't know, you know, there's kind of the stereotype of the military dad.
Right.
He's not going to approve of this.
Right.
That's the stereotype, you know.
Right.
But as soon as she tells him exactly what happened, why she did it, he completely understands, you know.
Why? Yeah, I mean, there is a pause. There's a moment there.
There is.
But then he goes, you know what? No, but you held by the code. You wanted to have honor and integrity, and I'm proud of you. Especially what happened after the last issue. You know, mind you, this is issue 858 had an incredibly heart-wrenching revelation about Kate's childhood and what it was like, you know, growing up as an...
And what happened to her sister and her real mom.
Or what she thought happened to her sister and her real mom. So, in the last segment I said there's going to be something about this book that is going to cheese off a lot of people. I was reading it, and on several occasions... Oh, we get to see Kate and Renee Montoya meet for the first time, which was kind of cool. And you get a few instances, couple instances of women kissing. You know, I really don't need DC shoving lesbianism in my face. I really don't, you know. Do I have to have the idea that Kate Kane likes women? Does that have to be dangled in front of me so provocatively?
Yeah, I know, right? Provocatively. This has nothing to do with who the character is, or it doesn't do nothing to further the story at all.
That's the thing. That's why, with this book, I'm like, man, you know, this is Greg Rucka saying, you know what, I'm telling this story with integrity. Mm-hmm. But is this issue going to end up losing readers for it? Is my question. That are you going to have those naysayers who say, you know what?
Because it kind of has been in the background. That was kind of the story, and there hasn't been anything like this. But this is telling this character who she is and where she gets to where she is, and that's part of her life,
right? And it's not like you know, you're having any graphic depictions of sex or anything like that. It's not done gratuitously. But I know there were some folks out there who read this one.
This is handled with more class, 100 times more class than Miss Marvel and Bullseye banging in Dark Avengers. I'm sorry, but that is gratuitous and that is just ridiculous and just 100 times better in here. The way that they handle the relationship between the two.
Yeah.
And if you guys can't, if the people who have the problem with this book can't see that difference, then I kind of feel bad for you.
You have to be mature. I love the Harvey Bullock joke that was in here, though.
That's pretty good.
Whatever happened to Bullock? I haven't seen him in forever. He wasn't killed or anything, was he?
No, I think he did pop up in one. I think he's in one of the books.
Montoya and Bullock, they were one of my favorite duos in comics.
No, Bullock is still in one of the books. I can't remember which one it is.
Yeah, whatever. Well, and then of course you had the great backup with The Question. Renee Montoya is The Question.
And there will be a period where J.H. Williams is going to be taking a break, and the comic book artist Jock is going to come on, the guy who did The Losers.
Right.
And I think they're going to flip where The Question is going to be the main story,
series.
And then the Batwoman will be the secondary feature for like 2 or 3 issues.
Okay, that's a clever device.
Mm-hmm.
What can we say? It's a great book, but it requires a modicum of maturity to really appreciate, both as a reader and as a person. When we come back, we will have a review that will lead us into Last Rants. I hope that intrigues you. See you then.